Passive sign convention typically applies whenever we have an equation that uses voltage and current together. For example, we have seen that the way you compute power is simply by computing it by multiplying the voltage times the current. And I've also told you that you have to put a positive or negative depending on a passive sign convention, which I'm explaining now. So the easiest thing to explain passive sign convention is by giving you a few examples. So I've created 4 different scenarios here for different elements, and we're going to compute the power for each one of them. Not the actual value, but just to figure out whether to put the positive or negative. So in all cases, typically the power is the voltage times the current. The power for this particular guy is also the voltage times the current. The power for here is also voltage times current. The power in here is also voltage times current. So when do we put positive? When do we put negative? So the rule, the passive sign convention rule, is pretty straightforward and simple. So you take a look at the current, and you take a look at the direction, and you see which terminal is it going to. Is it going to the positive or is it going to the negative? In this particular case, I see that the current is hitting the positive terminal first. So the passive sign convention tells me you have to use positive in this particular case. All right, so let's take a look at this particular scenario in here. Where is the current heading? Well, we see that the current is actually leaving the negative, and so it is not hitting it's not going to the negative, it's leaving it. So technically it's going somewhere in the circuit, and it will return if the circuit is a closed loop typically. So it will return, and we'll see that the current will actually be here. So if you think about it, the current is also hitting the positive terminal. And frankly speaking, these two cases are the same, because a current that goes into a terminal or goes into an element actually leaves it. And that's basically what I'm showing you in here. It's this particular current and this particular current is pretty much the same. So in this particular condition, passive sign convention tells me that the current is going to the positive terminal, so you have to use positive. So let's take a look at this particular case. In here I have the current, it's going to the negative, so it's hitting the negative port first. So passive sign convention tells me that you have to hit the negative in here. So for the last case, it's similar to what we've seen in the first case in here, which is I have a current leaving the positive, so it's going to go somewhere in the circuit, and it probably will go, well, not probably, it will go back from here because the circuit is a closed loop. And of course the current is going here, so it's hitting the negative port first. Because it's hitting the negative port first, we have to use negative, and that's what passive sign convention tells us.